So it's May 1st right now, and how was the last month? We're pretty much in June gloom. I had some light sprinkling the first 2 weeks, the first week, 2 weekends of April. The last couple of weeks, it's just been kind of more gloomy. The sun's been out, but it's out. The sun comes out every now and then, but it's that almost that June gloom already, even though it was we're in May. It hasn't been too hot, hasn't been too cold, but it's kind of that ideal powdery mildew season. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the latest updates on my 2019 Verne Manila Rootstocks. Just so if you guys are new, what I'm trying to accomplish here is I'm trying to figure out what varieties are the most vigorous here in my area, and at the same time I'm also trying to see which varieties are the most disease prone. Eventually I would like to, in the next the next 3, 5, 7 years, figure out which varieties has a lot of vigor, where they could flower and fruit and still send out vegetation instead of just stalling out. At the same time, I want to find varieties that they might not have to be vigorous, but that are disease resistant. I want to end up kind of eventually putting them in groups, where a group of varieties that needs consistent spraying to set fruit, a variety that doesn't need any spraying to set fruit, and then some ones in the middle where just some light spraying will help it set fruit. So this is my yard right now. I'm going to show you guys what done well and what hasn't so far. So just for your information, in January I sprayed copper, February I sprayed copper, but since then, once we got into March and April, I have not sprayed for anything. I haven't sprayed for powdery mildew or anything like that, but there has been branches and some varieties, specific varieties, where I know it's powdery mildew prone. I've done some spraying, and ones that have been kind of like been covered in powdery mildew, I can just spray it just so it doesn't spread. But that's what I've done. That's what I've done so far this year. Okay, and just because these varieties in my yard does well or doesn't do well for this year doesn't mean it won't work in your area. I mean, for example, sweet tart is a very disease resistant variety, and everybody will report that out in California. I haven't had much luck with it. It hasn't really set fruit last year or set fruit this year, so just kind of show you guys how it looks like. Just because it's done well or hasn't done well in my yard doesn't necessarily mean it won't do well in your yard. Just because everybody has a bit different microclimate. At the same time, some of the bloom timings is a bit of luck. Like if the bloom, when we had like a consistent week of no rain or anything like that, it would have set fruit fine. And if it bloomed when we had rain and stuff, and it would have set fruit. So just because it hasn't done well in my yard doesn't necessarily mean it won't do well in your yard, but it's kind of just a good baseline to go off of. But sometimes there is a bit of oddity here and there. So let's kind of get started on the first tree. So okay, this is Dolores. It hasn't looked that great, this yellowing, but some of the greening is coming back. It's looking a bit better, but some of these new ones, I don't think it's going to recover. Hopefully I get some new vegetation going. Blooms so far been powdery mildew prone. I did spray. Maybe some have set, maybe not. I'm not really too sure, but this year, at least for this year, I'm just more concerned for vegetative growth. Last year I did not really get any kind of vegetative growth on most of my variety. So this year, I'm just kind of letting it go. If it sets fruit, great. If it doesn't, I am looking forward to the vegetative growth. So this tree has had no spraying since January, February for copper. And if you were to spray for powdery mildew, you'd be spraying either sulfur or some kind of mineral oil mixed with baking soda to prevent it. Okay, so below us, let's see, this is right here is little gem. Little gem I did spray last year, and it was very productive. It was my most productive producer last year. I had like 4 full-size fruit, a bunch of nubbins. Okay. And all these, majority of these grafts were made in 2022. Just kind of keep that in mind. Majority of grafts were made in 2022. So I didn't spray this year, and it is, unfortunately, it is productive, but it does seem very highly powder mildew prone. This is little gem, so you grow more, maybe you probably might have to spray for it, because I'm seeing pretty bad powder mildew signs on my little gem, even though last year it was like the most productive variety in my yard, but I did spray last year. So that's little gem. Let's see, up next, this is Super Julie. I see a fruitlet here and there, but at least on this graph, nothing really set. But I can show you a few other graphs where it did much better in terms of fruitlet sets. So this is Super Julie. This right here is Sunrise. Sunrise right here. Didn't get anything, which is okay to me. A few more kind of Super Julie. This is the Sweet Tart, and as you can see, not much fruit set. I think I see one fruitlet here or something, but that's about it. Let's see. This is a lemon zest graft right here, and a new graft I kind of put on. This is a fruit punch. Hopefully it takes. On to the next tree. Let's see right here. Let's see where I'm gonna start off. Here is Harvest Moon. So some fruitlets here. This was very prone to powdery mildew. It was all covered in powdery mildew. I thought the blooms was done and finished, so I did spray for powdery mildew, and it looked like it ended up kind of setting some fruit. But at least for you guys to know, Harvest Moon was very powdery mildew prone, along with my Alfonso graft here too, which was very powdery mildew prone. Alright, so this is peach cobbler. Lots of blooms, some powdery mildew. We'll see what happens. It's supposed to be a more disease resistant variety, but we'll see what happens. Right here is ice cream. Definitely a little powdery mildew prone. Ice cream right here. This is Brahma Chimea. This one branch right here. This is Valkyrie. And right here is Honey Kiss. This is Golden Queen, Cat Saigon, Kilyai. Right here. Let's see, I have Malika right here. And then right here is my Ambrosia. Doesn't seem powdery mildew prone, but I think I got beating from the rain, the wet weather, because nothing's set. But that's okay. I had 2 really nice sized fruits from it last year. Oh, it ripened this year. So Ambrosia. And right here is Super Julie. I mean, not Super Julie. Take that back. Right here is Juliet. Juliet is a dwarf variety, so it's pretty slow growing, but I mean, this is the second year in a row where it's set a tons of fruitlets right now. You see the fruitlets right now. It's very, I would consider Super Julie and cotton candy, at least I've seen last year and I've seen this year, has been very disease resistant, and they set a lot of fruitlets. So last year's my Juliet, I'm sorry, I said Super Julie, I meant Juliet. So last year, Juliet and cotton candy set quite a bit of fruit, and the bloom seems to be the most disease resistant of the varieties I had. So it's 2 years in a row, and you can see there's tons of little fruitlets again. But last year, this Juliet, it just ended up dropping all its fruitlets. So I don't really know what happened. In a week or two, everything just dropped, even though they were like this size, or even larger. I think they were even larger. So just so you know, this one's a diamond. All the blooms are done for. Right here's a pineapple pleasure. It was very powdery mildew prone. It looks like it's about to send out its second bloom. Okay, right here is Maha Chinook. I had like 2 blooms here, but they were done for. They got damaged. Okay. Right here is Winter, a raw honey, has not sent out any flush. Same thing with this one, which is a Sindri, has not flushed anything, but it's bloom or vegetation, so that's pretty interesting. Seems like they're late to get going, which is probably might not be a bad thing here in coastal California area. This right here is Saphira Lucknow. Didn't set anything, but it was not, it seemed pretty clean, not much powdery mildew, so I'm surprised nothing set. So this one's Saphira Lucknow. Okay, on to the next tree. This is my orange sherbet. It looks like there's 2 fruitlets or so that might hold. I don't really know. Let's see. I got a Sassy Love right here. Super Julie right here. This is probably one of the later blooms. Let's see. And right here, I got the Saint Helene Guava Mango. And it did send out some vegetation with flowers, so that was pretty interesting. Not a mixed bloom, but I'm talking about it had bloom stalks, and then it has this pure vegetative stalk. And this one's which one is this one again? This one's a Giselle. So Giselle, the blooms was very powder mildew prone, along with the guava. It looks like it's sending out pure vegetation, so I'm getting a few of these pure vegetative growth. So I think maybe we might have passed that stage and we're beginning to get vegetation, but we'll see. The nights are still cool and the daytime's still not that hot yet, but I am seeing quite a few of varieties just sending out pure vegetative growth. This is Malika right here. It's like one little fruitlet there. And here's another sweet tart. Again, didn't really do that well in my yard. Not much fruit set, but no powdery mildew symptoms at all. Well, here's like one fruitlet. There's just a few smaller ones somewhere, but we'll see. I mean, I think it was just bad timing on the sweet tart. Okay. Okay, this is an Angie, which is blooming again. Haven't had much vegetative growth on this. Had 1/4 size fruit. You can see the graft right here, and now it's blooming again. So this is Angie. This is N12. Not much powdery mildew, but nothing did set also. This is Nam Dak Mai Mun. All the blooms are finished. We'll see, it's pushing something. Okay, this is a Duncan right here, and another Brahm Chimea. And oh, I have an orange essence here. Hopefully it does some growing this year. Okay, up next, this is one of my poorest looking, saddest looking trees. Lots of failed graft attempts, and it's just kind of messed up the shape of the tree due to that. So right here is a little gem. As you can see, very powder mildew prone, unfortunately. It's productive though. I would say you spray for it. I think they would set fruit. I don't really care for the fruit this year, so I'm gonna just let it do what it does. But you know, seems highly powder mildew prone. And when I look at the powder mildew prone, I kind of group them into like a couple categories. Some of them you don't really see any kind of powder mildew. Some you see a bit of it, and it kind of begins when the stalks kind of almost end up finishing blooming. And then there's ones that the powder mildew just kind of covers the entire bloom before it even gets a chance to, before the bloom get a chance to open up. So seems like Little Gem kind of falls into that category. But again, like I said, last year I had the most fruits from this variety, so as I was saying, it might be very productive, but it probably definitely needs to kind of spraying. Okay. This one is E-wise. I was hoping, you know, I was hoping for it to handle powdery mildew a bit better. Unfortunately, it hasn't. Look at this. This thing is like literally covered in powdery mildew. Unfortunately, there's this E-wise. It's an Egyptian variety. This is actually its second bloom right now. So both look like both blooms gonna fail, unfortunately. E-wise. I was hoping it handled our PM here a bit more better. It doesn't, unfortunately. Okay. And this is a Super Julie. This one kind of set more fruitlets than my big grafts. So, see. This one is Carla. I've just noticed it now. I guess I didn't notice it before, but yeah, there's lots of fruitlets. Some mild signs of powder mildew, but pretty nice fruitlet sets. So this is a variety color. So this one, let's see, this first year I'm seeing blooms on this. First year, I mean, I grafted it last year, so might be on the list of productive trees. And this is a variety called Tom Pecan. Don't really know much about it. It's Thai variety. Okay, next tree. This is right here, an St. Maui. Lots of blooms, lots of powdered mildew. I have been spraying this St. Maui for powdered mildew. I think just because it's such a large branch, and I would want some fruits from this. Up next is a Iman Pasan. Haven't sprayed this or anything. Seems like it does get powdered mildew, but it's not too bad. So Iman Pasan. And this is my seedling selection, California Remit. And has a few fruitlets right here, so we'll see. This is Sassy Love. Unfortunately, I don't think Sassy Love does well here. I mean, this is back-to-back years, and they just look like this all the time, where it's just brown blackening of it. Just one fruitlet here. I don't think it's gonna make it, but this is Sassy Love. I think if you have to go with something, probably go with Sweet Tart versus Sassy Love. Sassy Love seems like a slower grower here. Doesn't really have much of a vigor. And the flowers definitely looks more worse off than like the Sweet Tart flowers. Right, up next. And this is my seedling selection, California Remit. There was a bunch of blooms that began in, I think it was either late October or early November, and it did set a bunch of fruits, but the winter kind of took a beating on it. There's a few, I think I have probably a handful of fruitlets on it. So we see, but this is not from this. This one was from a very, very early. Oh, you could consider a very, very early bloom back in October, November. Okay, it's a Dupree Saigon. Very powder mildew prone. Didn't do much. This is a Bombay. It did push one bloom, but then it's kind of stalled again. This is another Cat Saigon. Jin Huang, Golden Queen, whatever you call it. This branch had no vegetative growth last year, so hoping for some this year. It did bloom. These kind of mixed bloom. I'll be cutting it off when the weather warms. There's a fruit cocktail. I think it's a Zapda right here. And a Hindi Besanara right here. Okay, this is the next tree. I was a bit concerned about this cack in the beginning because it was covered in powdery mildew. See how it is? Covered in powdery mildew. I didn't think anything was going to set fruit. And it did set fruit. There's some fruitlets. I don't know if these are going to be full-size fruit or just a bunch of nubbins, but surprisingly, a bunch of little fruitlets, considering how powder mildew, how covered in powder mildew it was. So it kind of does, so it has kind of lived up to its reputation of being very disease prone and being able to set fruit through powder mildew. And look at this, I'm getting vegetative growth already on this. These look like pure vegetative growth. So living up to kind of its reputation of being disease prone and being vigorous. So this one's a weird one. I don't think it's gonna hold, but you know, this is cack. Yeah, sending out lots of vegetation. This was just in the last couple of days. So let's see. Okay. Up here is another Super Julie. At least on this tree, seem to have set some fruitlets a bit better than the other ones. And this was one I've been very impressed with. This is cotton candy. Look at this. Look at this. All these 3 branches from this one graft, it's loaded with fruitlets. And I seen this 2 years in a row. I had a tree in the ground, but unfortunately that died last year. But before it died, it kind of exhibited the same thing. It was able to put out a bunch of fruitlets, very disease prone. Disease resistant, I mean, blooms. So the only thing is it hasn't been a very vigorous grow. So kind of same thing with the Juliet. Juliet is almost like a dwarf grow here, but look at the way it's setting these fruitlets. It's pretty incredible. Okay, on to the next tree. Oh, here's another Juliet. Look at this Juliet right here. Look at that. That's pretty amazing. I don't know if they're gonna hold anything. Might end up dropping all the fruitlets, but still, it's pretty interesting to see it at this stage. So Juliet. Oh, I have right here lemon zest. So hopefully I get some fruits on lemon zest. Look, and like I mentioned, where all the female flowers is concentrated on the end tip, and like just this last inch of growth. That seems to be the case on all of these. So lemon zest. See, my California Ramir is sending out its second bloom. This is Graham right here, Graham. And Graham has a few, more than a few, probably a handful of fruitlets set. And it's also seems to be sending out a second bloom too. So Graham fruitlet set and second bloom. Okay, this is a Florigon. And well, I hope it's a Florigon. This has been very disease prone for me. So it may not be a Florigon. Florigon is supposed to be very disease resistant, and I'm not sure why mine's so disease prone. So that might have been mistaken my grafting, but I won't know until I get my fruit. So lots of powdery mildew here. Some of these blooms are clean, so we'll see what happens. Alright everyone, this is my update on my 2019 Verne Manila rootstocks. Majority of the grass was made in 2022. So I had some fruits set on it last year on these rootstocks in 23. So this is 24 now, and we'll see what happens. I'm looking for more of vegetative growth this year than fruit set. So that's kind of like the plan this year. Thanks everyone for checking in.